India has reportedly told Canada to withdraw 41 diplomats by the 10th of October. New Delhi has warned that it may revoke the diplomatic immunity of the people asked to leave if they remain in the country after the deadline. Ties between India and Canada have been strained since last month. This was after Canada accused India of being involved in the killing of pro-Khalistan leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. European Union foreign ministers convened a meeting in Ukraine's capital Kyiv on Monday. This was their first ever meeting outside the bloc. They were there to show their support for Ukraine after the US Congress left military aid to Ukraine out of its recent spending bill. The EU foreign ministers meeting also follows the win of a pro-Russian candidate in Slovakia's parliamentary election. Meanwhile, the EU's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, proposed a new $5.2 billion aid package for Ukraine. Separately, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met delegations from the EU and Italy after the foreign ministers meet. He met with Borrell during the EU foreign policy chief's third day in Ukraine. Zelensky also welcomed Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani. Mexican President Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador has criticized America's military aid to Ukraine. He has called it, quote-unquote, irrational. Obrador has urged the US to devote more resources to helping Latin American countries instead. He has long called on Washington to allocate funds for development in Central America and the Caribbean. Obrador believes this will help ease migratory pressures. Mexicans took to the street on Monday to mark the 55th anniversary of a student massacre. Protesters attacked a security barricade erected outside the country's presidential residence. They demanded that justice finally be done for the people who were killed. In 1968, security forces stormed a leftist student rally. Officials say it resulted in the death of 30 to 40 people. However, rights activists say as many as 300 were killed. U.S. Republican lawmaker Matt Gaetz has called for a vote to oust House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Gaetz has said he was filing a motion to vacate. This would force a vote to remove McCarthy. His move comes after McCarthy passed a last-minute spending bill with the Democrats on Saturday despite opposition from some Republicans. Gaetz has not suggested an alternative leader for the chamber. Former U.S. President Donald Trump's New York civil case kicked off on Monday. A state lawyer has accused Trump of generating more than $100 million by lying about his real estate empire. This case concerns accusations that Trump inflated his assets and his own net worth from 2011 to 2021. New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking at least $250 million in fines and a permanent ban against Trump and his sons from running businesses in New York. She's also seeking a 5-year commercial real estate ban against Trump and the Trump Organization. Turkish counterterrorism police have detained 20 people over their alleged links to Kurdish militants. Those detained are suspected of collecting aid and providing shelter to members of the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party. The arrests come after 2 people carried out a bomb attack in front of the Turkish Interior Ministry building in Ankara on Sunday. Armenia has urged the European Union to sanction Azerbaijan for its military operation in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Armenia's envoy to the EU has said that Baku could attack Armenia itself unless the West takes firm action. He's also asked the West to deliver security assistance to Armenia. Last month, Azerbaijan took control of the contested Nagorno-Karabakh region in a military operation. This triggered the exodus of over 100,000 ethnic Armenians who lived in the region. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has confirmed that he will stand for the upcoming presidential election in December. If he wins, this will be his 3rd term and will allow him to stay in office until 2030. The election comes as Egypt is struggling with record inflation and a chronic shortage of foreign currency. Bangladesh has recorded over 1,000 dengue-related deaths since the start of this year. According to official data, 1,006 people have died. Bangladesh has recorded more than 200,000 cases of dengue this year. This marks the country's worst outbreak of the disease on record. There is no vaccine that specifically treats dengue, which is a prevalent disease in South Asia. Early voting has begun for Australia's upcoming referendum on Indigenous rights. Volunteers distributed flyers outside voting centres as citizens entered to cast their ballots. The proposal aims to amend Australia's constitution to enshrine the recognition of Indigenous groups. It will also give these groups a way to advise the Australian government on matters affecting them. In climate news, over 2,000 households in Thailand's Sukhothai were affected by flooding. This happened after embankments along the Yom River burst due to heavy rain in Thailand's northern region. Sukhothai residents said this flooding was the worst they have experienced. Water levels have gone up significantly in the Yom River this year. Thailand's Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin ordered state agencies to pay special attention to areas affected by the overflow. Firefighters have been battling a blaze burning close to the coast of the southeastern European nation, Albania. Local media reports say the fire has been burning for a week. Albania's defense ministry has said that Greece has helped by sending 2 firefighting planes. Rising temperatures have fueled wildfires and prompted health warnings across Europe this summer. Scientists have warned that the global climate crisis played a role in New York City getting flooded. The city was inundated after it received a month's worth of rain within a few hours on Friday. A new study has revealed that Friday's storm was 10 to 20% wetter than it would have been in the previous century. Scientists have expressed concerns over how well New York City is prepared for severe climate shocks. The new chair of the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has warned that slow measures to reach net zero emissions by 2050 will worsen the climate crisis. Climate health is likely to deteriorate with slow action even if we reach the goal on time. IPCC scientists have highlighted that a window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future is rapidly closing. Climate leaders from across the world gathered in Spain ahead of this year's climate summit, the COP28. The COP28 will be held in the UAE next month. Spain's Energy Minister, Teresa Ribera, has warned that COP28 climate summit will be challenging. Spain holds the rotating presidency of the European Council. It's pushing for an international coalition to support the Paris Climate Deal of 2015. The deal aims to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Meanwhile, the UAE's energy minister has said that fuel prices that consumers pay at the pump will be driven by a willingness to keep investing in fossil fuels. The statement comes as oil industry leaders reiterated the need for ongoing investment to facilitate the energy transition. Fossil fuels like coal, oil and gas are by far the largest contributor to global climate change. They account for 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions. In the U.S., the Office of Montana's Republican Attorney General is appealing a landmark climate change ruling. The case says that state agencies are not doing enough to protect 16 plaintiffs from harm caused by climate change. The appeal was filed in August this year. It said that the Montana Environmental Policy Act violates the plaintiffs' state constitutional right to a clean environment. The 1971 law requires the state to consider the potential environmental impact of proposed projects. The nominee to be the next European Union head of climate change policy, Wopke Hoekstra, has revealed his plan if he gets the role. He said he would ensure that the bloc commits to slashing its greenhouse gas emissions by at least 90% by 2040. Hoekstra is a former Dutch foreign minister. The EU's climate advisors say that its greenhouse gas emissions need to be slashed by 95% by 2040. However, representatives from several industries say that the goal is unrealistic. On to business and tech news now. Shares of China's Evergrande group jumped by as much as 42% as it resumed trading today. The property developer's stock was suspended last Thursday. This was after a report revealed that its chairman and founder had been placed under police surveillance. Evergrande is the most indebted property developer in the world. It became the face of China's real estate crisis in 2021. Australia's central bank held its interest rates for the fourth straight month in October. The Reserve Bank of Australia kept the rate steady at 4.10%. However, policymakers have warned that further tightening may be required in the future to bring inflation under control. Co-working firm WeWork has skipped interest payments on 5 of its bonds. It has withheld payments to the tune of $95 million. The company now has a 30-day grace period before the non-payments are considered a default. Earlier this year, WeWork raised doubt over its ability to continue operations. The company has been in turmoil ever since its plans to go public imploded in 2019. Automakers General Motors and Ford have said they're laying off another 500 workers at 4 U.S. plants. They say this is due to the impact of strikes carried out by America's United Auto Workers Union. Last month, GM said it idled employees from 2 of its plants because of a parts shortage arising from the strikes. That had resulted in 2,000 indefinite layoffs. Meanwhile, Ford had laid off 600 workers and Stellantis sacked 370 employees. The world's largest crypto exchange, Coinbase, has won a key license in Singapore. This will allow it to operate in one of Asia's biggest crypto hubs. The license was offered by Singapore's central bank. It'll allow Coinbase to offer digital payment token services to individuals and institutions in the country. Kenya has called the country's tech regulator to shut down the operations of cryptocurrency project WorldCoin. This is at least until Kenya has more stringent crypto regulations. In August, Kenya had already suspended the project over privacy issues. It raised objections over the iris scans of users in exchange for a digital ID. WorldCoin is an iris biometric cryptocurrency project founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. The European antitrust regulators have confirmed that they have not opened any formal investigation into the artificial intelligence chip sector. This clarification comes after the French Competition Authority raided NVIDIA for allegedly anti-competitive practices last week. The raid had raised speculations of a potential investigation by the EU. Reports say Meta Platforms is considering ad-free versions of Instagram and Facebook in the European Union. Under the plan, Meta would charge roughly $10 a month for the desktop versions of the apps. Meanwhile, on mobile devices, the prices would jump to nearly $14 a month. This is to factor in additional costs like commissions charged by the Apple and Google app stores. Elon Musk's social media company X has been sued for copyright infringement. The lawsuit has been brought by an advertising agency called X Social Media. It claims that Musk's firm infringes its trademark by incorporating the letter X. In July this year, Musk rebranded Twitter as X. The Netherlands competition watchdog has rejected objections by Apple over a $53 million fine imposed on the company. The Dutch watchdog had fined Apple over failure to comply with orders to limit the dominance of its App Store. It had asked the company to allow app developers to use third-party payment processors. App developers had demanded an alternative payment method to avoid paying Apple a commission. Moving to sports, let's start with the Asian Games. India won a bronze medal in the men's 1,000-meter canoe double race. The Indian duo of Arjun Singh and Sunil Singh Salman finished with a time of 3 minutes 53 seconds .32. Kazakhstan took the silver and Uzbekistan bagged the gold. India beat Nepal by 23 runs in the men's T20 cricket tournament at the Asian Games. India smashed 202 runs in their 20 overs. 21-year-old Yashasvi Jaiswal smashed a century in just 49 deliveries. He has now become the youngest Indian batter to register 100 at a T20 international match. Nepal ran out of deliveries during their chase with 1 wicket in hand. India will now play in the semi-final on Friday. In other cricket news, New Zealand beat South Africa by 7 runs in yesterday's World Cup warm-up game. Devon Conway smashed 78 runs for the Black Caps. New Zealand scored 321 runs in their 50 overs. South Africa began the chase strong. However, rain stopped play when South Africa were at 211 runs in the 37th over. Using the Duckworth-Lewis method, New Zealand were declared the winners. England beat Bangladesh by 4 wickets in yesterday's Cricket World Cup warm-up match. The game was reduced to 37 overs due to rain. Bangladesh batted first and scored 188 runs in their innings. England reached the target with 77 balls remaining. England have now played all their warm-up matches. They will play New Zealand on Thursday in their first match of the World Cup. In women's cricket, the West Indies beat Australia by 7 wickets in yesterday's T20 match. Australia batted first and scored 212 runs in their 20 overs. They set a new record for the highest T20 score in a women's international game. During their chase, the West Indies took to the crease in style. Captain Hayley Matthews scored 132 runs from 64 balls. The West Indies completed the highest women's T20 run chase with just 1 ball to spare. With the win, the West Indies have now tied the 3-match T20 series against Australia 1-1. In football, Chelsea beat Fulham FC 2-0 in last night's Premier League match. Mykhailo Mudryk scored in the 18th minute to give Chelsea the lead. Just a minute later, the Blues scored again with a strike from Armando Broja. This was just Chelsea's 2nd win from their 7 matches this season. The match between Saudi club Al Ittihad and Iran's Sepahan was called off yesterday. This was after Al Ittihad refused to leave their locker room and enter the field. They were opposing the placement of a statue of an assassinated Iranian general at the entrance to the pitch. The Asian Football Confederation cancelled the match and launched an inquiry into the incident. Former Barcelona and Brazil legend Ronaldinho Gaúcho will visit India this month. He's scheduled to visit the eastern Indian city of Kolkata. The football legend's manager says Ronaldinho will attend the Indian festival of Durga Puja. This will be Ronaldinho's maiden visit to Kolkata. In tennis, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz continued with his domination at the China Open. Spaniard Alcaraz beat Norwegian Casper Ruud 6-4, 6-4 in straight sets. He will now play Italy's Yannick Sinner in the semi-final later today. Formula One's governing body has given the initial approval to a new entrant. Andretti Formula Racing were the only team that got the approval out of 5 candidates who had applied. They had made a joint bid with US automobile maker Cadillac. However, the Andretti Cadillac team will undergo another screening by the rights holders of Formula One. They'll be given a final approval if F1 rights holders assess that Andretti Formula Racing can add commercial value to the championship. In entertainment news, after Netflix, Disney Plus will start cracking down on password sharing soon. Disney Plus is planning to go the Netflix route. It's likely to identify households and cut access to anyone who is an outsider. However, Disney Plus has plans to offer new options for account sharing outside the primary user's household. Earlier this year, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced that the company is working on a strategy to monetize streaming account freeloaders. Talk shows have made a comeback and their hosts Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon are celebrating. Bill Maher and John Oliver have returned with their shows as well. The talk show hosts delivered opening monologues. They spoke about the deal that ended the Hollywood writers' strikes and thanked their audiences for being patient during the protest. Veteran actor Tom Hanks has warned his fans about an advertisement that has used an AI version of him. The ad is about a dental plan. The actor took to Instagram and said that he has nothing to do with the promotional campaign video. Tom Hanks has previously spoken about the usage of artificial intelligence and deepfake technology. He said, and I quote, "This is certainly an artistic challenge, but it's also a legal one." Singer Beyoncé has announced the release of her concert film. The film is based on her 2023 Renaissance World Tour. The singer released the first official trailer of her film on Monday, which is called Renaissance, a film by Beyoncé. The film is set to release in theaters on December 1st. In the trailer, Beyoncé said, and I quote, "Be careful what you ask for, because I might just comply." This comes just days after singer Taylor Swift announced that her Eras concert tour movie is set for a worldwide release this year. Singer Selena Gomez made a surprise appearance at a Coldplay concert in California in the US. Gomez joined singer Chris Martin, and the two performed their 2021 song, "Let Somebody Go." Later, Gomez took to Instagram and thanked Coldplay for the collaboration. Selena Gomez's latest on-stage performance comes a month after she released a song called "Single Soon." Ava Philippe, the daughter of Oscar-winning actress Reese Witherspoon, has opened up about her mental health. During an Instagram Q&A, Philippe said, and I quote, "I have dealt with anxiety for as long as I can remember, and it was especially intense for me as a kid and teenager." When asked about how she deals with anxiety, the 24-year-old said, and I quote, "You have every right to feel however you do, even if it seems weird to others." Philippe added that being hard on yourself won't help you find a better solution. Singer Britney Spears' former husband Sam Asghari has said that he's working on an unscripted show. During an interview with a news publication, Asghari said that the show is about helping people. He added that he was helped a lot by a lot of people, which touched him deeply. Sam Asghari filed for a divorce from Britney Spears in August. This was about 14 months after the two got married. Controversies are piling up for comedian Russell Brand. He's facing a second police investigation in the UK over allegations of sexual misconduct. A woman has accused Brand of being a sexual predator. This development comes weeks after several women accused the comedian of sexual assault. Russell Brand has denied all allegations. Comedian Pete Davidson is in trouble yet again. He got into an accident after he departed from his stand-up comedy show in Los Angeles in the US. Davidson had hosted an after-party following his performance. As he left the venue, he was seen scraping his car against a wall. In July this year, Pete Davidson entered an 18-month program following a charge of reckless driving. The reason behind the death of Dancing with the Stars judge Len Goodman has been revealed. Goodman died after prostate cancer spread to his bones. He died in April this year, just 3 days before his 79th birthday. Goodman was secretly treated for prostate cancer in 2009. The diagnosis was kept away from the media eye. However, the cancer later returned and became the reason behind Goodman's death.